Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express. The 14th edition of the Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave was a two-day event that had lined up multiple tracks and close to 200 plus speakers that contributed through their experience across keynotes, masterclasses and leadership panel sessions. This SCM industry platform is the largest gathering of supply chain experts converging under one roof from across industries in India. The event, which made a comeback after almost 3 years, having missed out on the last two editions, received an overwhelming response from the supply chain and procurement fraternity.
We do realize that nothing is more important than being able to connect with people, or for that matter to put processes in place and to also be aligned with technology. So that brings us to the very pertinent theme for the year 2022. People, processes and technology alignment across the supply chain continuum. Now that truly underscores the fact that the new reality is vastly different, and the reset that was needed earlier has transformed into a great reset at all the levels of business.
The event kicked off with an auspicious lamp lighting ceremony, which was followed by the welcome note on the theme Future-Proofing Logistics and Supply Chain Industry with Advanced Maps and Deep Tech by the CEO and Executive Director of MapmyIndia, Rohan Verma.
Future-proofing your logistics and supply chain organization and operations with advanced digital maps and deep tech, including IoT. Now, we all know logistics is 14% of GDP. Digitization can really drive efficiencies. The country needs it because that would be a big contributor to our GDP. My point will be very simple. Using advanced maps and deep tech digital products and platforms, especially what MapmyIndia provides, we want you to be able to move your goods faster, cheaper, safer, and in the process delight your customers, all end users and stakeholders, and build a very strong competitive advantage and hence profits for your business.
The day began with a leadership panel discussion where industry experts discussed future-proofing your supply chain and developing new ideas to win during disruption and build agility into systems, processes and decision-making.
With the war in Ukraine, we felt that the Ukraine will fall into the hands of Russia. Maybe in few days or not, maybe we'll just give it up, but the war is going on since last 6 months. A small country fighting with a large, powerful country like Russia. It's all about the partnership. It's proving, of course, war is not a right scenario for us to discuss and set a case study for us because it's not a right environment, okay? But what it is proving that the right set of partners also matters, okay? Because the logistics, the supply chain, the mobilization of maybe it's not medicines or it's not stuff to make you happy, or rather weapons, but it's happening.
The first trend that I'm going to definitely talk to you about our customers, the Walmarts, the Totals, the Targets of the world, who are our largest customers and procure the most from our side of it. And this is where we have seen two very contrasting trends. The one being is that they ask us to stick on the basics, to be able to deliver on time in full what they requested for. The second contrasting trend that I was talking about is be able to have more digital channels available for them and for their teams to order, right? So they said the EDI integrations are not sufficient enough. Your salesperson coming with an app, with a tablet is not sufficient enough anymore. We want to be able to provide our employees a way to be able to order your stuff faster in a better way. So we had to build our own marketplace in a very faster velocity. It's just still buggy, but we were still able to give a marketplace and which they were able to use to order. Okay, so the digital trends became stronger and we had to support them, that part of it.
But what has happened over a period of time now, we have been faced with flurry of disruptions. So I equate uncertainty with disruption. So let's take an example of container rates, Suez Canal, Ukraine war, you name it, we have it. So what we can do as supply chain individual professionals differently. So 3 things that I typically follow or insist everyone in supply chain to look at is visibility. So the more visibility we create around processes, around value chain, around your own ecosystem, it helps. The other 2 words are very often commonly used are agile and resilient. But most important, I feel, is visibility. The more visible your processes are, more visibility you bring in your operations, it helps you to sustain crisis. A recent Gartner survey, which was done in 2022, 2 months back, the organization where visibility, resilience, and agility is better, they bounce back 3x time better than organizations where these aspects are neglected. So the depth of a disruption and the time taken, which is width of recovery, is 3x better. So this, I think I'll limit it to, we have talked enough of disruptions, and there are tools available to handle disruptions now. We have mastered, I think, but every day is a new challenge, and the new technology is coming up to handle that.
Parallel to the main leadership track, the day also featured a full-fledged procurement leaders summit, which began with a panel discussion on the theme, From Surviving to Thriving, Business During Endemic.
So, how we have handled this scenario for last 2 years, and I'm sure when we hear now all these things, we are little more prepared. We are little more confident of handling that, because we have handled this scenario for last 2 years. And it's not, I'm sure it's not like when you have heard first lockdown on a phase 1, where we didn't know what to start and from where to start. So friends, this also gives us a good opportunity for purchasing and supply chain fraternity to showcase themselves. So real strength comes out during the crisis. So suddenly sourcing and supply chain has become talk of the town.
Our commodity became an essential commodity overnight. It was not a part of commodity because everybody wanted to be connected, because data was required more than ever. It actually overshot the data requirement by 5 to 10 years. This pandemic brought in the requirement of the data. So our manufacturing sites were forced to be open on the 12th day after the lockdown. So, but there was one blessing in disguise, like Karthik was also pointing out, that people who were importing from China itself had some a slightest of idea in November 19 itself. I think if it was November 19 or December 19, that there is something happening in China. So we were, our team was very much agile in taking the steps in stocking some of the inventories at the port, at our sites itself. We convinced our management that this is going to come, and that actually shielded us. But more often than not, everybody in this room and across the whole fraternity and all industries, people were struggling for containers. So that was the biggest challenge that we were facing, and what helped at that point of time was the relationship what we had built with our partners over a period of time. And in fact, that will also take forward, because it always helps if you have a key relationship with all your partners. So you are always taken as an anchor customer, and you are taken as a long-term associate into their business.
Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express, Platinum Partner, Oracle, Logistics Partner, DP World, Gold Partners, Pando, 3SC, Creating Value, Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, G Trophy, Silver Partners, TCI Supply Chain, FM Logistics, Verdis, Bronze Partner, NL Green Power, Blue Yonder, conceived and managed by Kamikaze. Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express. The engaging opening sessions were followed up by a leadership track on creating a digital thread through your supply chain and use it to drive results and unlock value.
Of course, Amazon is at a different level of supply chain. So somebody asked Jeff Bezos that, what's going to change in next 10 years and how you are going to address it. So Jeff said that, I can tell you what's not going to change in next 10 years. So he says that no customer will come to me and say that, hey Jeff, I love Amazon, but I will pay more price, or I am okay with a higher lead time. So in a supply chain is all about the availability and affordability. And if we are some of the D2C company, then it is accessibility. So basics of supply chain are same, were same, and will remain same.
So coming to this point, basically one, of course, we have all talked about is the efficiency which we have to drive, and how digitization is actually helping the organization to drive efficiency. But there are many other dimensions also which are part of, which are basically the driving force behind digitization. So I think I can divide this whole thing into 4 parts. First is, of course, the most important thing for any organization, which is service. So customer is the center point here, and service basically means that how you are able to reach the customer on time, every time he demands the product. So you are able to provide a particular service level to the sales team or to the customer. The service level could be different for different organizations. It could be, say, an FMCG company would want to operate at a 99% service level. Maybe a L&T kind of an organization where customer may be willing to wait for the product. Their service level could be slightly different.
Data is a new currency for supply chain, and which I totally agree, because ultimately all these projects depend on that. We have as a tool implementer or as a supply chain planning tool company, we run into this data issues almost all our projects. There are times when the project's timeline is, say, 6 months. For example, for a demand planning, forecasting, implementation project, the original timeline will be 6 months, but then it takes about 4 or 5 months to get good data, and then there's a whole delay. This happens every project, and the main reason for that is, until people go on this digital transformation, whether it's in terms of ERP implementation or your supply chain planning or TMS modules or whatever you call, right? People, the planners or the organization will use only the data that they require.
Previously, it was good enough for a customer to be happy and we are minimizing our overall costs. But that's not enough anymore in this world. So sustainability becomes very key in this environment. Ensuring that we are minimizing the carbon emissions, for example. Ensuring that we are able to minimize the wastage and the yield become more and more important. And that's where technology comes into play.
In today's day and age of instant payments, instant gratification, most consumers and businesses expect their deliveries to reach them instantaneously. As that need increases, there's a complex bunch of AI and technologies that are used in the back end to make the delivery reach to you in 10 minutes. There are companies that do 10 minutes. There are companies that deliver instantaneously to you, or in the same day or next week. But fundamentally, all of that requires a lot of technology in the back.
One of the challenges, of course, we see in the industry right now is the lack of willingness to change. So what I talk about with that is, I always say there's a saying like, if you only focus on the result, you will not change. But if you change, you will find results. And I think when you look at how you deploy that with the kids of, that's coming into the industry, they see that change is needed. But if the leadership is not willing to see that change is something they're willing to take on, they have difficulties to keep people on board.
Next up was the procurement track with elite panelists discussing embracing next generation digital and cognitive procurement equals to change management.
When we talk about cognitive procurement, first of all, what is procurement? Procurement 1.0, wherein we use some basic automation. Procurement 2.0, when we used the data which is coming from this, we try to analyze the data. And the Procurement 3.0, wherein we are talking about how we can align the business, how we can align the revenue growth, how we can align to the new product strategy and procurement department.
So, I think gone are the days, I think precisely 2 decades back, when procurement used to only talk about cost saving.
Yes.
But I think eventually all of us have learned that cost saving without quality, without product innovation does not sell off. So it may get you achieve that primary target, but it will be very short-lived. Your operation team, user team, project team will be after you very soon if you are not able to deliver them this solution. Second point, which I think is very, very critical, is becoming a strategic advisor to the business. If your procurement strategy is here and the business wants to grow, business strategy is here, you will be at the snail pace and not be able to help to collaborate well with the business.
Training the people was a big task, and it's not about training only the procurement people. All the stakeholders that are involved, the business has to be there, the procurement team has to be there, senior leadership team. Apart from this, the bringing vendors on board was and is still a big task. People are not ready to move to the platform. They don't want to register themselves. They think if inquiry aayegi, then only we will see. Which is not, which we cannot do, because later it's going to take that much time. So support from management, that mostly when we are implementing such a big system and there's a lot of cost involved, so that comes in. But bringing everyone onto the platform and giving them trainings on a regular basis. Because as Vinay mentioned initially, procurement 1.0, 2.0 and moving further, the skill set required are entirely different.
Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express, Platinum Partner, Oracle, Logistics Partner, DP World, Gold Partners, Pando, 3SC, Creating Value, Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, G Trophy, Silver Partners, TCI Supply Chain, FM Logistics, Verdis, Bronze Partner, NL Green Power, Blue Yonder, conceived and managed by Kamikaze. Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express. Apart from the engaging panel discussions and masterclasses, the event also showcased various stall setups, promoting networking among industry leaders and dialogues among colleagues. The 2-day conclave had multiple tracks which were running parallel to each other. The afternoon session in the leadership track focused on the theme, winning in the turns. Define your strategy, optimize your cost, nurture your talent.
Earlier times we used to hear that, okay, you get your business model right and man it with the talent and you will be successful. But in the past few years, especially during the pandemic, the volatility situation has really taught us a lot. And that's where now the correct theme or right way to talk about business is that you need to have a strategy, you need to optimize costs, and then you need to hire and retain talent.
Actually, Industras lived up its adage that putting India first. During this global pandemic of COVID, there were challenges for spare parts. What we did basically at that point of time to cater the interim demand, so we set up localized repair centers which we don't do in usual manner, in normal manner. If you look at in cement, 20-25% of our business goes through a multimodal, which is the railway transportations, and 75% is on road. So we kind of look at how do you really maximize in terms of rail and multimodal share in the last 2.5 years. Third, in terms of reorient your business model, how you qualify this. So we've also gone ahead, looked at some of our customer assets. So, can we use of those assets
fleets in our business, in our model, right? That's something also we have done.
Followed by a leadership session on network design for greater agility, optionality and growth, modeling your supply chain for greater efficiency.
In the 2 years of pandemic, what happened is that everything got a fast forward. Especially in supply chain, we hit the fast forward button the most, and not once, twice. Nobody dreamt that there will be a 2 years worth of a blockage. We thought it will get over in a month, 2 months, 3 months. But when I think the only team which was most prepared to handle the pandemic without a break was the supply chain team, and it's all because of the people who are sitting in this room and those guys who work in the warehouse. We should give them a big hand. I sometimes feel that we have the greatest of teams, unseen most of the time, but deliver the most.
The entire supply chain is actually, after the pandemic, everybody has realized that that is the key. So that is deciding how the business is served. And every supply chain is again dependent on trucks. Roughly around 2 crore vehicles are visiting HPCL petrol bunks every day. 2 crore vehicle per day. That is the size in which we are operating. 15 lakh cylinders are delivered every day.
The role of technology is as important as ever before. Rather, it's more important than before. It helps in optimizing costs and improves customer service through streamlining of supply chain. If we look at transportation management and IoT-based fleet monitoring solution, it helps in addressing the macro and micro level disruptions which are faced by almost all organizations today.
I believe whatever has been the past, the present and the future, one thing which is going to be common is the culture. Culture will transcend all these boundaries, and culture could be, things like customer focus, ownership, being responsive and having empathy. So this is like kind of, for want of a better word, a religion which runs through a company. So that I think would remain same. Now to deliver this culture you would need to have an ecosystem, and an ecosystem is where a person is allowed to fail, a person is allowed to do experiments and go forward.
Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express, Platinum Partner, Oracle, Logistics Partner, DP World, Gold Partners, Pando, 3SC, Creating Value, Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, G Trophy, Silver Partners, TCI Supply Chain, FM Logistics, Verdis, Bronze Partner, NL Green Power, Blue Yonder, conceived and managed by Kamikaze. Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express. The final session on day 1 in the leadership track was a classic finale as moderator Gautam Srinivasan deep dived with his panelists on defining the leaders of tomorrow, the world at 2030. Are you ready for change?
So maybe we could start with how the nature of leadership itself has changed and some of the key highlights which folks have seen. Umesh, we'll start with you on that.
So the leaders in the past world, you will need those leaders who will define the strategy, they will have the execution, will get to do that. But that's not enough. We need an arsenal of a very different mindset and skills. And specifically, what's a mindset? In the new world, you have to think completely global. When I say global, purely from a demand side, you have the entire world as your market. You have, from a supply perspective, entire employees can be across the world. That's a new way of thinking.
The overall perspective, towards the hierarchical approach has completely changed now. If you just look at that, most of us, generally when you actually, our language has changed actually. If you look at that, interviews have become interactions. So whenever we speak, introduce somebody today, we always talk about, individual working with me, definitely not working under me. The problem is that, it's become more inclusive rather than becoming individual and trying to actually approach to the overall problem. I would always see that, most of the problems are generally solved when you actually change your overall approach to the problem itself. It's not about, throwing a problem into an individual. It is most of the time, I have experienced in my life, most of the time it's about
being with them, sitting with them and trying to solve the problem and getting into the problem on it, and probably, giving a, touch on certain things which probably, that problem solution might be actually missing. That's also something which has actually come to us as a pressure being leader. But most of the results are achieved here, which I have seen, is when you start including them and try to solve the problem, being part of the team as a team. Sunil, let me come to you for your perspective. Unlearning old habits for a leader. How do you go about it? Because the context is also important for the leader. As in, what am I doing and why am I doing it in the context of both the organization and the leader themselves? So your thoughts on how leaders can unlearn old habits.
So as a leader, I think it's continuous challenge for basically picking up new learning so that they can stay updated of new advancements happening, new changes happening in the technology area. And then basically that dynamics is very important, because if you have to convey a message of positivity, let's say benefits, your employees should also be aligned with you.
After an interesting day one, day two opened with a terrific leadership track on the theme Uncovering Innovation, Opportunities and Delivering Cost Savings, Harnessing the Power of Extended Value Chain Thinking and Collaboration.
Supply chain is all about data. The more data you have, the more context you have. The more context you have, the better the decisions are. So from this perspective, I think all the organizations first need to focus on digitizing the data, number one. Number two, once they have digitized the data, you will be able to sort of move into digitalizing the processes that are involved. And then you have patterns within data that will help you to sort of sense and respond with agility, because then you know the fluctuations in demand and you'll be able to sense and respond better.
ELSC per se as a platform is a great arena wherein top supply chain talent from the user side as well as from the LSP side all get together in one platform, and they share the best of the best practices, insights. At the same time, it's a good opportunity for us to also generate business leads as an LSP.
Warehousing plays a very pivotal role in terms of improving efficiencies and reducing cost. And some of the things what we promote and foster is having a multi-client facility across all our customers, where we can have synergies and, share resources. We also make sure that we invest in technology to make, things much faster and error-proof.
Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express, Platinum Partner, Oracle, Logistics Partner, DP World, Gold Partners, Pando, 3SC, Creating Value, Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, G Trophy, Silver Partners, TCI Supply Chain, FM Logistics, Verdis, Bronze Partner, NL Green Power, Blue Yonder, conceived and managed by Kamikaze. Blue Yonder presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Leadership Award. After an incredible day of discussions and thought-provoking dialogues, the evening ended with the 14th edition of industry's most awaited awards night, which recognized companies who have excelled over the past 2 years. These awards were hosted after the 2019 edition, with close to 150 plus companies nominated for their initiatives.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at the 2022 ELSC Leadership Awards that's dedicated to people and teams that make the supply chain and procurement community as one, as a very prospering one. Now this award in fact is born out of a simple vision to create an event that will honor the highest level of achievement in supply chain and procurement across the Indian community. And these awards pay tribute to the organization as well as our inspiring role models that lead the way, that go the way, know the way, and show the way. On that note, time to take the show on the road, because our very first category is Best Road Service Provider of the Year. So that being said, we're going to also quickly pass on the cue cards to our presenters to announce the winner of the Best Road Service Provider of the Year.
The Best Road Service Provider of the Year. The winner is Safe Express.
for the best in class use of technology.
And the winner is Legrand.
Coming up next is best 3PL warehousing company.
And that's MapmyIndia Supply Chain.
Up next, outstanding digital transformation in supply chain.
And the winners are Indus Towers and Hyundai Motor India.
Let's also hear it for Hyundai Motor India Limited. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's march ahead. We're talking about excellence in environmental social governance.
And the winner is Ascent Telecom Infrastructure.
Alright, looks like the next round of applause that needs to go with the beat of the music. We're finding out the winner of Logistics Park of the Year.
And the winner is Lola Industrial.
So it's time to announce the 3PL Company of the Year.
And the winners are TTI Supply Chain and Safe Express.
Having please invite Mr. Jaspreet Sethi, Chief Executive Officer, TTI Supply Chain Solutions, and the team to please come on stage. Coming up next, Best Warehouse Infrastructure Company.
And that's ESR Development Partners Limited.
The next award is for the Best Procure-to-Pay Solution Provider. And the winner is?
And the winner is Shake Deal.
Let's move on to the next award. We're talking about the Best Procurement Innovation of the Year.
And the winners are Growth Analytics Center, ABNB, and DBS Bank India Limited.
Let's also invite DBS Bank India Limited to please come on stage. The next award is for the overall excellence in procurement and sourcing.
And the winners are ACG Group and Grasim Industries.
On that note, overall excellence in procurement and sourcing, let's also hear it for Grasim Industries Limited, Advanced Material, Aditya Birla Group. Moving ahead, best in class supply chain visibility.
Flipkart.
Let's move ahead to our next category, Best in Class Productivity Improvement through Supply Chain. Let's find out the winners.
So we have two winners for this particular category. It's Mondelez India Foods and Abid Buddy Plants, specifically, Abid Healthcare.
And for Best in Class Productivity Improvement through Supply Chain, it goes to Abid Buddy Plant, Abid Healthcare Private Limited. Let's congratulate. Best in Class IoT and Fleet Management Solution Provider, and the winner is?
The winner is G-Tropic. Congratulations, guys.
Let's move ahead to our next category, Excellence in Corporate Social Responsibility. I'd like our guests to do the honors.
The winner for this category is Bajaj Electricals.
Next up, for the Warehouse Automation and Software Company, and the winner is
Godrej Corbel Supply Chain Limited.
Blue Yonder presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Leadership Award, conceived and managed by Kamikaze. Blue Yonder presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Leadership Award.
Next up, for our next award, Best Customer-Centric MHE Supplier of the Year, and the winner is
Fonte Supply Chain Solutions Limited.
And for the ELSC Outstanding Industry Achievement,
the company Jubilant Foodworks Limited.
Heartiest congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. With this, we move ahead to our next award, Best Green Procurement Initiative / Project, and the winners are?
There are two winners, Dalmia Bharat Cement Limited and Schneider Electric India Private Limited.
And for the Best Green Procurement Initiative / Project, Schneider Electric India Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, and with this, we move ahead to the next award, Warehouse Innovation / Initiative of the Year, and the winner is?
The Indus Towers Limited.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, Warehousing Excellence in Cold Chain.
And the winner is Siemens Healthcare Private Limited.
Let's move on first up with our next award, Outstanding Digital Transformation in Supply Chain.
So joint winners, the first one is Berger Paints India Limited.
Outstanding digital transformation supply chain. So let's also announce the next name.
Second winner is Vodafone Idea Limited.
Moving ahead, the next award is for the Best Procurement Excellence of the Year.
The winner is Cisco Global Procurement Services.
Best in Class Ethical Procurement Practices.
And the winner is Hindustan Unilever Limited.
And on that beautiful note, let's march ahead. Best Contract Logistics Company of the Year.
The winner is Stellar Value Chain Solutions.
Here we go. Best in Class Cross-Functional Collaboration.
Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited.
Well, that brings us to Best Supply Chain Company of the Year.
The winner is DP World.
Moving ahead, Best Supply Chain Strategy.
Atul Limited.
Well, next up is Best Supply Chain Cloud Company of the Year.
Oracle India.
Supply Chain Entrepreneur of the Year.
Mr. Mohan Jha, MD Innovative Distribution Services Private Limited.
Moving ahead, Best Use of Analytics in Demand Planning and Forecasting Practice.
SS Supply Chain Solutions Private Limited.
Time for our next award, Supply Chain Rising Star.
Word is
And with that, Best in Class Supply Chain Strategy and Design.
Wow. Indian Oil Corporation Limited.
With that, our next award is Elsc Supply Chain Team of the Year 2022.
There are two winners, Reliance Retail Limited and Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited.
Well, it's also time to hear it for the other team over here, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited. Coming up next is Best Procurement Team of the Year.
And the award goes to Schneider Electric India Private Limited and ITC.
Ladies and gentlemen, ITC Limited.
With that, the day came to an end, and the 14th edition of the Express Logistics and Supply Chain Leadership Awards will be etched in the memories for years to come.
So cognitive AI helps having the physical supply chain at the bottom. On top of that, we integrate the multiple internal data systems with the external data like Google, social media, and having a complete digital twin on top of that, where using the mathematical optimization, machine learning, mixed integer programming, linear programming, you can have all the simulations and you can have the decisions the same way your mind is taking the decisions from that. And this helps you to have the better decisions and transform your supply chain like anything.
For the partners like us to adapt, evolve and move forward with that. So while we started our business as providers for material handling equipment, but we have adapted, listened to the customer, and today we not only provide the MHEs, we also provide their drivers, we take care of the fleet that the customer owns at various locations.
Mappls MapmyIndia presents 14th Express Logistics and Supply Chain Conclave in association with Safe Express, Platinum Partner, Oracle, Logistics Partner, DP World, Gold Partners, Pando, 3SC, Creating Value, Lodha Industrial and Logistics Park, G Trophy, Silver Partners, TCI Supply Chain, FM Logistics, Verdis, Bronze Partner, NL Green Power, Blue Yonder, conceived and managed by Kamikaze.